Hi, guys. Welcome back to the baseline. Thanks again for joining me. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Today, we're going to be talking about the big Medicaid con and why they want you sick, why they want you silent, and why they want you broke. All right. I know that's pretty dramatic, but let me, guys, ask you something real. What kind of government lets people die just because they missed a form? Or what kind of leadership stands on a stage and says, we're going to protect Medicaid at all costs, and then guts it behind closed doors? This isn't about budgets, and it's not about saving money. Sometimes this stuff, it just seems like it's about power. And it keeps getting to the working class. And sometimes it also seems like it's about keeping the working class too broke, too sick, too overwhelmed to fight back. Now, if you think this doesn't affect you, stick around because you might be surprised. And by the end of this episode, you'll realize that in some form or another, it already does. Now, let's try to break it down all the way in all different facets and try to get down to the bare bones of the real face of Medicaid. And sometimes it seems like they want you to believe that Medicaid is for other people, lazy people, jobless people, irresponsible people. But that really is a lie, because 83 million Americans, 1 in 4, rely on Medicaid. And I guarantee you know somebody that's on it. Could be your Uber driver. It could be you. It could be your cousin with diabetes. It's possibly that 63-year-old woman. She's still bagging groceries because her retirement's a dream and she never got to chase it. These aren't lazy people. And we shouldn't judge people like that anyway, because these people, they're survivors. And Medicaid, it's the thin line between life and death for them, because unfortunately, in this country, getting sick is a luxury. You're not allowed to be poor and sick. You're not allowed to have chronic condition and a low paying job, because those two things are not going to mix. Now, if you do, the system will leave you behind. And now the same system is tightening the screws even further. So let me explain. Here comes the next kind of scam, right? It's going to be called the work requirement scam. And let's get into the meat of this, because they're rolling out something called work requirements for Medicaid. A lot of these people can't work, by the way. And a lot of them are elderly or retired or whatever the case is, but they want to call it work requirements for Medicaid. And on paper, it sounds reasonable, right? Okay, well, maybe you should work. If you can work, you should. Sure, maybe that makes sense. But the reality is, it's a trap, because most people on Medicaid, they already work. They're janitors, they're delivery drivers, teachers' aides, line cooks. A lot of them are warehouse workers. I mean, you name it. But now they're going to have to prove it every month, and not just once. They want you to do it every month. And if you're caring for a sick parent or something like that, or working irregular shifts, or self-employed without proper records, good luck to you. Because if the paperwork's late or incomplete month by month, you're out. Just like that. So, just like that, your medication, it could be gone. Your doctor, gone. And your safety net, gone. And they'll say, well, it's your fault. You didn't comply. And no, it's designed for you to fail at it. So let me give you guys a story. We're going to meet Trina. So let me tell you about Trina. She's a single mom of 3. She lives in rural Kentucky, works a part-time at a diner, right? No benefits, pays rent, sometimes late, more often than not, maybe, I don't know. But her daughter's got asthma, And Trina's got high blood pressure. Now, she was on Medicaid and barely scraping by. And imagine what a struggle that is, especially if we have a young child like that. But then the work requirement hit, right? And she missed one deadline because her hours were dropped when the diner cut back. And just like that, she lost coverage that same week. Now, her daughter had an asthma attack, an ER visit, no insurance. Want to guess? Want to guess how much that cost? $6,200 bill. And now she's in debt. Her daughter's skipping meds, and she's working more just to pay the hospital bill now. So you tell me how this helps anyone by doing this. Now, this is a form of death by bureaucracy, right? There's a word for what happened to Trina, and it's called churn. Churn is when someone gets kicked off Medicaid, not because they're no longer eligible, not because of red tape, but because of a missed form, an income shift, a document lost in the mail. It can happen to anybody, any one of us. Then a few weeks or months later, they get reinstated. But in that window, people die. People get sick. Emergencies happen. It's not worth the risk for anybody to die in a situation like that. And they're going to die. They're going to die from missed medications, from untreated illnesses, from ER bills they couldn't pay back. That's what this system does. It can kill people based on ridiculous technicalities. Now, what is the Georgia experiment? And the Georgia experiment is follow the money. Let's talk about Georgia. They launched their own Medicaid work requirement pilot program. Their goal was to cover 50,000 people, but what actually happened, the actual result, 12,000 got covered. $87 million spent, and 75% of that money did not go to doctors or patients or hospitals. It went to consultants, contractors, administration fees. That's not reform. That is a con job. And other states are looking at Georgia and saying, yeah, let's do that. Can you imagine? States thinking that that's a good idea. And that could lead to the death of rural America. Because if you live in a city, you've got choices. But in rural America, sometimes you've just got one hospital, one clinic, one option. So when Medicaid gets slashed, these hospitals, they can collapse. And then what? These poor people, they got to go 80 miles to drive to the nearest emergency room? Your wife's in labor, imagine that. And you got to drive 80 miles to get to the ER? Your kid gets in a car crash, and you're stuck. This isn't a maybe, it's already happening. It's happening in towns across Mississippi, Alabama, Oklahoma. Hospitals are closing. And not because of lack of demand. People need hospitals, people need these places. But because the money stopped. And when the money stops, man, for a lot of people, so does their heartbeats. It's insane. So it's a global perspective on this. How do other countries do this? So hold on for this one, guys. All right. You want to hear the biggest joke? The US spends more on healthcare than any other country in the world and gets the worst results. So in Canada, you don't get kicked off for being unemployed. And in France, insulin is free for diabetics. In the UK, cancer treatment doesn't bankrupt you like it does here. In America, you can work 40 hours a week and still die because your job doesn't offer health insurance. We don't have a health system here. It's too much for profit. And it seems like the people that are supposed to protect and help us always try to take away the programs, the little programs that we have, right? So we have a wealth extraction machine. That's what it seems like. And who always seems to get the squeeze? It always seems like rural, poor people that are working and that are not lazy. Don't believe me? Here's some more stories. Real consequences. So I got a message last month, right? Let's just call the guy Carlos, right? He's a warehouse worker, got injured on the job, couldn't work for 6 weeks. He lost his Medicaid. Why? Because he didn't meet the work requirement. That's what the letter said. No paycheck equals no health care. Meanwhile, his back injury got worse. He couldn't afford physical therapy. So now what? He's permanently limited in how much he can lift. Can't go back to his old job. It broke him. They broke him. What do you do? Then they told him it was his fault. Carlos is just one of millions. This is happening every day to so many people. If you guys know somebody like that, drop a comment. If it's happened to you, drop a comment. I would love to know your story. Now, this is the biggest lie. This is kind of very disrespectful. They're lazy. These people are lazy. Let's destroy that myth once and for all. No, people on Medicaid are not lazy. Most of them are working or caregiving or in school or just plain sick. So many of them are old and on retirement. And to be labeled like that, it's insane, right? The lazy moocher narrative. It's awful. It's propaganda. And it's just amazing that this could happen here. But it's designed to keep you angry at the wrong people all the time. So you don't look up and realize who's behind the curtain laughing. Now, what is the psychology of this control? Let me see. Let me tell you what I think it really is, at least. It's not about healthcare. It seems like it's about psychological control. When you're healthy, you can think clearly. When you're sick and broke, you'll believe anything if it promises some type of relief. Now, that's the game. Keep people just healthy enough to work, but never, never healthy enough to rebel. So, where does that land us? Where do we go from here? And where do we land? This system isn't broken. It's working precisely like it's designed to. It seems like it. Continue to funnel the money upward. Punish the people who cannot fight back, the most vulnerable. And to make you believe that poverty is a moral failing. But now you know how they play this game. And that makes you potentially dangerous to them. So what do? What is the solution to all this? What action can anybody take? Well, I think you speak, you can educate, you can challenge. I don't think staying silent is a good option at all. Don't stay silent, because silence is a form of complicity. And silence is what they are counting on. So I encourage everybody, we're in tough times, but make an attempt. Own your own mind, guard your body, fight for the voiceless, for the people who can't fight for themselves. And I think we'll all be better for it. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for watching The Baseline. I appreciate you guys being a part of the program. And of course, as always, we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Baseline. All right. Cheers, everybody.